Page 160, We Fall Down. Tricky rhythm, 4/4 time, F major, 1 flat. Just go through this rhythm carefully in the right hand. We're saying second finger, third finger works too, but second okay. 1 and 2 and. We're playing on the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then saying crossover. That's fine. You can also just lift up and use thumb. Use a 1 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Hold the G down in there in the first line, first measure, the second line, and play the E. And then lift up. Now they're using 3. Isn't that nice? 1 and 2 and 3 and reach down. Second, the last measure of the second line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1. Last line on page 160. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You're playing a lot of ands. On page 161, second line, chorus. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 4 there. Get that? 1 and 2. And then for the F's it's 2 1. Last measure is the same rhythm. Let's keep going here. This is the second line, last measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. I can slow that down. We're down to the third line, second measure. It's the same rhythm. Slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. And the last line on page 160. Second measure, I recommend a 1 3 here. And then a 1 2. I want the melody legato, because then I need a 3 and I can connect it. Watch the fingering at the end. That's a 1 3 on the last note, because at the top of page 162 you got this, and then up here B natural, and second measure there's still the B naturals, but watch the fingering. It's a 4 and then a 2 5. And then it's, so the rhythm for the last 2 measures of the first line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and then we're back to the chorus thing again, but now we're in the key of G major, 1 sharp, we just switched keys, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, watch the fingering, now it's a 3 5, you went from here to here. Now another fingering you can experiment. If you don't like the idea on that first measure, the second line on the B's, to go from here to here, if you don't like that move, you don't have to make it. You can try this out at the beginning of the measure, same way here, but now do a 1 4. Can you do that? And then a 2 3, and then you're a 1 on the 2 G's. So to me that's easier, but you'll have to decide. There's times in piano you need to do that. So this is not real slow, it's not real fast either, but it's not real slow, so you got to be able to do this quickly and hopefully without looking at the keyboard eventually. And then you go through that a few times. At the last line at the bottom, you're here. Again, a 1 3 and then a 1 2, so you're in position to go on. And I would do a 2 4 on the F sharp B, and then 3, and then a 1 4. So I'm basically just staying in this position. Third fingering is fine if you want to try it. I just prefer fourth finger. I'm not moving around. Left hand, just keep it soft. It's mostly quarter notes. And you're kind of going down. The last measure of that first line on page 160, I recommend a 4 finger on the B flat. Just because it's a black key, we tend to use 4th fingers on black keys. the second line, second measure there where the verse starts, I recommend a 3-1. And then for the F, a 3, not a 2. And then a 2-5 or 5-2. And then you can do a 5-1 or a 4-1. It's up to you. Then you gotta go down. The idea is I'm covering pretty much all of this in one hand position. And I prefer to do that. I can feel it better crawling around. Here. Bottom of the page, 3-1. And again, you can just play it with, you don't have to play the F with the second finger. You just third finger and reach down then for 5-2. It's the same fingering. At the bottom of page 161, here, I recommend third finger on the E. Then it's a 4-1 and then a 5. And on page 162, it's similar, except on the third line down when you go into G major. Third finger I recommend. And then the second measure of that line is 4 on the C. And then on the next measure a 4 on the D. And a 5-2 for the half note. And then lift up and go down. Last line is a 3 on the F sharp. Don't forget the F sharp. Then a 4-1 and then down. And then you can do whatever you want. Here it's a 5-1 is fine, and then a 5-2, and then a 5-1, and then a 2-1. I went over that very quickly. You'll have to kind of pause the video or go over it a few times to try and get all those penciled in. I don't give you time to really write them in because I don't want the video to last forever. I'm just kind of throwing it at you. Good luck keeping up. You know how it is. Then put the hands together as best you can. The beginning, keep these quarter notes steady. They'll help keep the beat. It's like a drum. Idea. Let's add some pedal to smooth this out. Got to keep the pedaling kind of simple, I hope. And usually every 2 beats is fine. It's legato pedal, the pedal I lag behind the hands at the beginning. Change it every 2 beats. At the second line between the first and second measures, I lift the pedal up with the hand so there's a little silence before we start the piece, because this is introduction. And then lift up. Now, my tendency is when I have a short note followed by a long note, and they're different, I don't pedal the short note. I wait until put the pedal down on the long note. Because most of the time I don't want to catch both notes. Now sometimes it sounds okay, that's fine, it's blurry and it doesn't need to be. So on these, each time this does that, I'm going to wait until I play the long note before I push the pedal down. Same thing with here. So I'm put on the last measure second line, I put the pedal down with the G and then change it on the F. I didn't pedal the last beat. The left hand has to stay down. It's up to you whether you pedal it or not. This isn't a slow piece, it's not a fast piece, but it's not, and you might be able to get away with a little blurry because it doesn't last very long, but I'll leave that up to you. It would be nice to connect the left hand. You do that, you gotta pedal it. pedaling it for the most part every 2 beats, except when I have a short note followed by a long note. I typically don't pedal the short note. Experiment with the sound. I'm trying to get you to listen rather than just blindly doing the pedal as I tell you to. Judge for yourself on this. Now when we get to the chorus, again, every 2 beats is fine, but I have some articulation. It doesn't have to all be legato. So it's like, follow the words if you need to. So on the second measure, second line, the holy ends here, and we say, if you want a little break between the holy and lift the pedal up so you get a break. And I tend to play that 8th note in staccato, but that's an interpretive thing. And at the third line down, last measure, I don't pedal the last beat. Although it's nice to connect this and this, but if you would finger that B flat either with 4-1 or 3-1, you can connect it. These pedaling ideas I'm giving you are just suggestions anyway, so you decide. Page 162 at the top, again, pretty much every 2 beats, except I typically don't pedal a short note. Retardando at the end, slow it down a little bit. I mean, the singing ends on the line above it here. That's it. You're done singing. This is just an instrumental coda, if you will. And at the end, then the pedal and the hands all come up together. Now there is a polka retardando at the top of page 162, a crescendo, the last 2 measures there on the first line. You're building up an intensity to go into the new key signature. I'll get there, give me a moment. Yes. So the last 2 measures of the first line going on, it's more like that. Then the odd tempo means go back to the speed you were going before you slowed down, is all it is. And you don't have to have a break in the sound. There, if you don't want, you can connect them. Because you're going holy, 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 holy on that. Okay. This is the climax of the piece, this bit. So this is the loudest part, the most exciting part. It says medium loud, but it depends on how exciting you're going to get. In other words, don't get too carried away with it, but this is the loudest of the whole piece. This is what you want. I want to do a play with me. I'm going to do pages 160, 161, and then stop, turn the page, count in again, and do page 162. I'm going to go real slow. If you want to play along, double check your rhythms, especially the right hand. Feel free to play along with me. I'm going to give 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, and go, and. Turn the page. 1 and 2 and ready and go and